Let's move
Yeah.
on to the co-main. Australia's own Robert Whittaker takes
Yeah.
on Jared Cannonier. This is an exciting one. I'm interested to get your thoughts. Hit me. What do you think?
Oh man,
Talk to me
I'm a
about
wit-
what you think about Whittaker, because we're Australians. I mean, he's part Kiwi, but we're gonna claim him. Uh, like, what do you like about Whittaker's game?
I forgot where it was. I think it was in Sydney. I'm not too sure where it was, but you see Whitaker, and he former welterweight, moved up to middleweight. Not
Yep.
that big of a middleweight, but I've heard him crack pads,
Mm.
and good God, that guy can hit, dude.
Yep.
That guy hits like a truck. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And you're really as only as good as your last fight, according to like the way the fans see it and whatever. And he had a long layoff against fighting Izzy, and I think Whitaker still has it, dude.
Yep.
And what a freaking matchup against a guy that's gonna be hitting just as hard, who sleeps guys. But I'm a huge fan of Whitaker. I think he's man, martial artist in and out of the cage,
Yep.
family man.
Yep.
I totally dig his brand and his style, but the guy just loves to fight, bro. Who fights freaking Yoel Romero like that? You know what I mean? Like he
Yep.
took like probably 3 5 years out of his life because of that freaking fight.
Yeah. Of course.
Huge fan, huge fan. Hits like a freaking truck and is just well rounded. Very athletic. He seems like a very athletic guy.
Yep. How would, in your opinion, how would you describe Jared Cannonier's game? Like, what do you think of Cannonier? What comes to mind?
Man, like just power.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Power, yeah, and if Jared Cannonier came out and started fighting at middleweight, we would never have known. We would never known the type of power that he possesses because of like you just see his gradual from heavyweight, light heavyweight, and now middleweight.
Yep.
Man, he hits like freaking. Who he reminds me of? But not as powerful
Yep.
as how am I'm like totally on names. Guy that slept Glover Teixeira,
Uh,
Anthony
uh,
Johnson.
Anthony Johnson. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, he reminds me of an Anthony Johnson, but a little bit more sound, a
Yeah.
little bit
Right.
more tighter.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. I've got a very interesting. Like, I was thinking a lot about this fight, and it excited me until, in my mind, I realized that I've watched this exact fight, a couple of weeks ago, and I'll tell you what I mean. I think that this fight is almost like an Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. You
Ah,
see it? So
wow.
it's interesting because I've been trying to break it out, and I was watching these two guys, and I'm like, so what I've got written. These are the notes. These are the keys for Robert Whittaker. He's very bouncy. Like, his movement is very bouncy. He has these bull rushes. Like, he rushes and he goes. He rushes and he goes. His best combinations are where he extends upon it. He's got that like flinging overhand right, and he's actually not that technical in the sense that he leaves his hands quite low, right?
Low.
But he's got movements and feints, and I'm like, hold up, I've seen this fight. It's like almost a
Yeah,
poor man's Israel Adesanya. And if you were to describe Karen Neal, which you said, power, heavy hands. He's very deliberate, right? Like, he stalks people. He walks down, and I'm like, wait, I've seen this fight before.
yeah.
It's almost like Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa.
That is, that is a very good breakdown, and um, I think Robert Whitaker with his hands down, he gets away with it because he can cover so much ground so
Bingo.
fast.
That's it. It's because of his movement patterns, how he
Yeah,
moves. He's very
yeah,
light on his feet for a middleweight.
but the only problem with a lot of the way he starts off his combinations with big leaps
Yep.
is it just increases Jared Cannonier's power if
Yep.
he lands.
To counter.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, versus like getting cracked by someone versus running in and getting cracked by someone.
Yeah.
And that kind of hurt Robert Whitaker in his last fight against Izzy. He was coming
Exactly.
in, and I mean, with Izzy being one of the best counter strikers, it's kind of like it was kind of a hard matchup for Whitaker, but uh, I think man Whitaker got a chin though, and I think he could take those shots early on. But you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's like you have a guy that's just immense amount of power, and Robert Whittaker's gonna try to use his feints and his movement to try to get it going. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
I
I
give I
think
give the power I give the power I give the power advantage to Jared
for sure.
Cannonier.
Yep.
And speed, athleticism, covering ground. Give it to Whitaker, hands up.
Yeah, absolutely. Very similar fight. The keys to the victory for Robert is to stay at range. Use his feints, come in and out, and hopefully wear Jared out. But yeah, Cannonier, he's very methodical. He stalks opponents down. And you're right. What happened in the last fight against Till is Robert got cracked coming in by
Mm-hmm.
Till. So if he walks into one of those by Cannonier, he probably won't take it because the power differential to me there's a bigger hammer coming out of Cannonier, especially since that's a heavyweight coming
Yeah,
coming down. So it'll be really interesting. Yeah, when I thought about it like that, it's just interesting because he's got very Cannonier, that is very good wins against Hermanson, David Branch, but interestingly enough, Whitaker he actually trains at a jiu-jitsu gym relatively close to where I live. He's like a purple belt. Like he doesn't really mix the takedowns as often as he should, but like he's got those credentials. Like he does
yes.
BJJ, but we like I don't know. Again, I guess I think you fall in love with the striking, right? And it takes definitely less energy out of you.
Yeah, and also too, it's been working for him.
Yeah, yeah,
The strike's been working for him. I think man, if he just starts adding in those takedowns to feints to takedowns, and just having more tools against a guy like Jared, it's gonna open up. All you just need is Jared to put his hands down to defend the takedown and then come on top. Because man, that's Whitaker's freaking game. That big right hand,
the
big
big
looping
right.
left hook. You
Yep,
know,
yep.
um, I think that's gonna be a key to victory.
Absolutely. How do you see this one going?
Another thing too that we haven't really considered is that Whitaker's been, even though he's been out for a lot of fights,
Yep,
he's always ready for 5 rounders.
yep.
And it's gonna be his first 3 round. Or I mean, well, he fight Till with three
It was
rounds.
five. That was five.
It was five, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So will that change the game? Maybe, but I have Whitaker winning this fight.
yep. How? Decision?
I think he's just gonna outscore him. He's
Yeah.
gonna use his movement. He's gonna outscore him. He's gonna stay disciplined because he needs this win.
Yes, there's higher stakes here, and you've seen him in interviews. He's your quintessential Australian, very relaxed about it, but he doesn't want to lose. I can know
Yeah,
as no one does. Yeah, I th-
but even now more so.
yeah.
Yeah,
The stakes are higher. What I found interesting is the fight that he had against Israel was very unlike him. Like he's not
very.
you. Yeah, it's not you. He's not. I think the pressure of Australia sold out crowd versus Izzy, Australia versus New Zealand. There's just a lot of narratives there. He's openly said that was a lot more pressure than like he's not a guy that just likes that spotlight. Like that's not naturally his disposition. So he came in a lot more aggressive than he usually is. And to me, the Darren Till one was almost absolutely opposite. He paired back quite a bit, and obviously it didn't help that Darren was playing the same sort of game. So I'm intrigued to see that play out because it's 3 rounds versus five, and if no one's applying the pressure early, like you don't necessarily want to see an Izzy versus Yoel Romero, but at the same time, I think there's going to be a little bit more action there, but it'll be interesting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I see the same. Whittaker over three decision. Playing it relatively safe, striking when he needs to.
Yeah. Yeah. Shango when he needs to stay in discipline and a lot of movement.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.